Have you ever wondered how you can embrace the later years of life with peace, happiness, and fulfillment? As we age, many of us find that the things we once prioritized no longer hold the same value. But what if letting go of certain habits and mindsets could unlock a whole new world of joy and connection in your 70s and beyond? In this video, we're going to explore 15 impactful things that people often choose to quit after turning 70, and how these changes can bring incredible freedom and inner peace. You'll learn about letting go of perfectionism, learning to say no, and focusing on what truly matters, things that can radically transform your life. But why is it so important to watch until the end? Because, as you move through life, the wisdom of these insights will help you embrace a more relaxed, joyful, and meaningful existence. Whether you're looking for ways to improve your relationships, let go of past hurts, or simply savor life more deeply, this video will give you the tools and inspiration to make your 70s some of the most rewarding years of your life. So, stick with us to discover how releasing these 15 habits can not only make your life easier but also more fulfilling. You'll want to hear the stories and strategies that could very well change the way you approach aging, turning what could feel like limitations into the freedom to live fully. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1 is the habit of saying yes to everything. As we grow older, time becomes not just valuable, but almost sacred. Once you reach your 70s, you've lived through enough experiences to know that your time is limited, and it's more important than ever to make sure you're spending it wisely. You've earned the right to be discerning, to choose what truly matters, and to let go of the pressures that once dictated every moment of your day. This is something I deeply believe. We should all learn to say no more often, and with that, we find peace, calm, and the ability to nurture our inner selves. I've heard so many stories from people in their later years who speak about the profound sense of relief and peace they've found by becoming selective with their commitments. The simple act of saying no has allowed them to protect their energy and invest in what brings them real joy. For example, one of my close friends shared how she used to say yes to every family dinner, thinking she had to be there, and that it was expected of her. But she soon realized that those dinners drained her, both physically and emotionally. She would find herself exhausted for days afterward, questioning if the time spent was truly worth it. And so, she made the courageous decision to stop saying yes out of obligation. Now, she attends fewer events, but the difference is striking. She walks into those gatherings with a renewed energy and a sense of presence that she never had before. Her interactions feel more meaningful, and the time she spends with others feels more fulfilling. This is not just about skipping events. It's about making space for what truly nourishes your spirit, your heart, and your soul. Setting boundaries allows us to reclaim what's rightfully ours. The time and energy to nurture ourselves, the time to enjoy what makes us happy, and the precious moments to cherish our most loved ones in deeply rewarding ways. I believe that as we age, we come to understand that peace is found in simplicity, and in that simplicity, we often find the greatest joys. Letting go of the need to please everyone and saying yes only to what truly resonates with your heart is one of the most liberating things you can do. It's not about cutting people off, it's about honoring your own needs, permitting yourself to rest, and being deliberate in how you live your life. After all, this is the time to embrace the things that truly matter and allow your soul the space to thrive. 2. Perfectionism and self-criticism. Perfectionism and self-criticism are two powerful forces that can haunt us, even as we grow older. It's surprising to think that perfectionism, a trait we often associate with younger generations, can still have such a stronghold in the lives of those in their 70s. Yet, it's a reality many of us face, even in the later years of life. Whether it's maintaining a home to the highest standards, preparing meals for loved ones, or worrying about our appearance, the relentless voice of "it's not good enough" seems to persist, sneaking in when we least expect it. I remember one incredible woman I knew. an inspiring retired teacher who had spent her entire life dedicated to giving her best. Despite receiving constant praise for her cooking, she never felt it was good enough. No matter how much her guests complimented her meals, that inner voice of perfectionism continued to echo in her mind, making her second-guess herself. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But then, something beautiful happened when she reached her 70s. She finally, after all these years of self-imposed pressure, allowed herself to let go of that incessant worry. She came to a powerful realization. Her guests didn't come to critique her culinary prowess. They came to share her company, to enjoy the warmth of her presence. She no longer felt the need to impress or strive for the unattainable. Instead, she began to embrace a simpler approach to cooking, focusing on preparing delicious, nourishing meals without the burden of perfection hanging over her every move. The joy she felt in the kitchen was tangible. She was no longer cooking to meet external expectations, but rather to share love and comfort with the people she cared about. This shift in mindset didn't just change the way she cooked, it transformed her life. She found an overwhelming sense of self-acceptance, a peace she hadn't felt before. It was as though a weight had been lifted from her shoulders, and in that space, she could finally breathe deeply. It's a powerful lesson for all of us, no matter our age. The pursuit of perfection often blinds us to the beauty of imperfection, and by letting go of the need to be flawless, we open ourselves to the kind of joy and fulfillment that comes from simply being present. For anyone reading this, if you're still holding on to that relentless self-criticism, I urge you to take a step back and reflect. Allow yourself to release that burden. You deserve to experience the freedom of embracing who you are, flaws and all, and to find peace in simply being enough. It's a gift worth giving to yourself. 3. The idea that you have to keep busy to be useful. In our fast-paced society, there's a deeply ingrained belief that busyness equals worth. We are often told that to be useful and to have value, we must stay constantly occupied, running from one task to another. It's as if the mere act of being busy makes us productive, as if our worth is measured by how much we do rather than who we are. But in truth, many people, especially those who have spent a lifetime working tirelessly, caring for others, and fulfilling endless obligations, find incredible liberation in realizing they no longer have to be perpetually busy. There's something profoundly freeing and empowering in embracing stillness, in accepting that it's okay to step off the never-ending treadmill of life. For many seniors, this realization comes as a much-needed breath of fresh air. I have heard countless stories from older individuals who have found greater joy and fulfillment in slowing down. The simple, quiet moments of life, like watching a sunset paint the sky with vibrant hues, getting lost in the pages of a novel, or savoring a cup of coffee in peace, bring them more contentment than any hurried rush ever could. These moments, often overlooked in the chaos of earlier years, are now treasured deeply. There's something magical about allowing yourself to truly experience these moments without the pressure to constantly be doing. It's a shift in mindset, one that makes room for life's true pleasures, ones that don't come with deadlines or expectations. One beautiful example I've seen is with an elderly couple I know who made a courageous decision to sell their large family home. For years, they had spent countless hours maintaining a big house. Yard work, repairs, and cleaning. It was exhausting. But when they downsized to a cozy condo, they liberated themselves from the never-ending cycle of upkeep. With the time they gained back, they discovered the richness of a slower, more intentional pace. They began to enjoy leisurely walks together, visiting local museums, reconnecting with old friends, and simply enjoying each other's company in a way they never could before. The joy they found in these simple activities, which once seemed trivial or indulgent, was like a balm for their spirits. What strikes me the most about their story is how their decision to slow down and embrace a more peaceful life was, in a sense, a radical act of self-love. It was an acknowledgement that their well-being mattered, that they didn't need to prove their value through busyness. Instead, they chose to nurture their hearts and souls, finding fulfillment in the quiet moments that many of us often overlook. This shift toward self-care, slowing down, And appreciating the beauty in life's small pleasures is something we could all learn from. It reminds me that we don't have to be constantly rushing to be happy or fulfilled. Sometimes, slowing down is the most powerful thing we can do for ourselves. Fourth, the urge to hold grudges or harbor resentment. As we age, especially when we reach the age of 70, it's common to look back on our lives and reflect on the experiences that have shaped us, both the beautiful moments and the painful ones. One of the most challenging burdens many of us carry during these years is the urge to hold grudges or harbor resentment. It's not just a fleeting feeling, but something that can weigh heavily on our hearts, minds, and even our bodies. Over time, these unresolved hurts and feelings of betrayal can create an emotional prison that holds us captive, preventing us from truly moving forward and embracing peace. I've often heard people talk about how the weight of resentment has affected their lives, sometimes for decades. The stories are filled with a sense of profound relief when they finally choose to let go of that burden. It's as if a heavy cloud has been lifted, and they feel lighter, freer, and more connected to the present moment. It's incredible to hear these stories because they reveal just how powerful the act of forgiveness can be, not for the person who hurt us, but for ourselves. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing the wrongs that were done to us. It doesn't mean forgetting the pain or pretending it never happened. No, it's much more than that. Forgiveness is about making a conscious decision to release the emotional chains that keep us stuck in the past. I remember a neighbor of mine sharing a deeply emotional story about forgiving a friend with whom she had a falling out over 20 years ago. She explained how, after all those years of carrying that anger and disappointment, letting go of her grudge felt like a release she never expected. It was as if she had been holding onto a heavy stone, and the moment she dropped it, she felt a deep sense of peace. Her sleep improved, and she felt a lightness in her spirit she hadn't experienced in years. That was a moment that truly resonated with me because it highlighted the healing power of choosing peace over pain. Forgiveness, in my opinion, is one of the most profound gifts we can give ourselves as we grow older. It's not about saying the hurt was okay. It's about saying, I'm not going to let this control me any longer. When we let go of the grudges we've carried for so long, we open up emotional space for so much more. Space for joy, love, and deeper, more meaningful connections with the people around us. It's a release that allows us to live the rest of our years with more lightness and freedom, not burdened by the anger of the past. And truly, nothing is more powerful than that. 5. The pursuit of keeping up with younger generations. The relentless pursuit of keeping up with younger generations can feel overwhelming, especially in a world that seems to be changing faster than we can keep up. With technology advancing at such a rapid pace and new trends emerging constantly, it's easy to fall into the trap of trying to master every new app, platform, or gadget. While no doubt learning new skills can be enriching, there comes a point when the pressure to stay on top of it all can become not just exhausting, but also entirely unnecessary. I've come to believe that the true joy in life doesn't come from trying to be everywhere at once or mastering everything. It comes from embracing the things that truly bring us happiness, no matter how old we are. Many people over the age of 70, in particular, have realized that they can find far more contentment by carefully choosing what matters most to them. Rather than feeling like they need to constantly catch up with the latest tech trends, they prioritize the things that truly enhance their lives. This mindset shift can be incredibly liberating. It's about quality over quantity. For example, I recall a dear friend of mine who, despite her grandkids raving about Instagram, simply decided that it wasn't something she needed to engage with. She didn't feel pressured to dive into a platform just because it was popular. Instead, she had the brilliant idea of asking her grandkids to share photos with her through a more straightforward, easy-to-use photo sharing app. This simple choice allowed her to remain connected with her loved ones, without the feeling of being overwhelmed by the complexity and constant changes of social media. To me, this is the epitome of wisdom, the ability to choose what truly matters and not let external pressures dictate how we spend our time. It's not about resisting change, but about embracing what feels right for us. In a world that glorifies constant connectivity and staying in the know, There's something incredibly powerful about finding peace in simplicity and choosing meaningful connections over technological noise. 6. Excessive worrying about what others think. As we age, one of the most profound freedoms we come to experience is the release from the relentless fear of judgment. It's a freedom that blossoms as we turn 70 and beyond, a freedom we didn't always know we needed. For so much of our lives, we are conditioned to seek approval. From childhood, we crave the nod of approval from our parents, the admiration of our peers, and the validation of society. The pressure to conform to others' expectations becomes so ingrained in our minds that we often forget what truly matters, our happiness and peace of mind. But here's the beautiful truth. Once we reach a certain age, we begin to realize that the opinions of others are not nearly as important as our sense of fulfillment. The weight of external judgment begins to feel less significant, and we finally begin to prioritize ourselves, our comfort, and our joy. I remember a gentleman I once knew who shared a powerful story with me that still resonates deeply. He told me how, for decades, he had been bound by the idea that looking sharp was more important than feeling good. He would wear stiff, uncomfortable clothes just because they looked polished, but deep down, he felt constricted, restless, and unhappy. Then, something beautiful happened. When he turned 70, he made the life-changing decision to release himself from the shackles of societal expectations. He chose comfort over style, and it was a decision that brought him immeasurable peace. No longer did he wear those stifling clothes for the sake of appearance. Instead, he embraced cozy sweaters and soft, supportive shoes that made him feel at ease in his skin. And you know what? He became happier, more at peace, and truly liberated. There was a sense of lightness in his demeanor, a softness in his smile, as though a burden had been lifted. The power of letting go of unnecessary worries about what others think is a profound gift of aging. So many people find their true freedom when they stop obsessing over the judgments of others and begin to listen to the voice within that says, "What makes me happy? What brings me peace? What makes me feel alive?" It's incredibly liberating to know that, after so many years of seeking approval, we can finally embrace the freedom of simply being ourselves. Our happiness is no longer dependent on external validation. It is rooted in the comfort of our hearts. 7. Excessive possessions. As we journey through life, especially as we approach our 70s, we begin to realize that the physical possessions we've accumulated over the years no longer hold the same significance they once did. This isn't just about decluttering a space. It's about shedding the emotional weight tied to each item, whether it's a gift, a souvenir, or something we held onto simply because it once meant something to us. The truth is, as time passes, many of these possessions start to feel like emotional baggage. Anchors that tie us to the past in ways we may not even recognize until we finally stop and look around. I've witnessed firsthand the powerful and often emotional journey that comes with downsizing. For some, it's like a weight being lifted from their shoulders, a realization that the material things we hold so dear can hold us back. I remember a dear friend of mine who, after years of hanging onto a collection of family china, made the heartfelt decision to pass it down to her daughter. It was a decision full of meaning, but she knew that, for her, the china no longer represented love and memories in the same way it once did. She also donated other belongings that had served their purpose in her life but no longer brought her joy or peace. For her, this wasn't just about getting rid of things. It was a process of emotional cleansing. It was about creating space. Space for peace, space for tranquility, space for new memories. She told me it felt as though she was making room for the things that truly mattered. Love, connection, and the simple beauty of the present moment, rather than being weighed down by physical objects. To me, this experience holds deep wisdom. It's a reminder that our homes, our lives, and our hearts should be filled with what truly enriches us, not just what we've accumulated over time. And sometimes, letting go of what we no longer need is not a loss, but a freeing release, a chance to embrace the next chapter with lightness and clarity. It's amazing how, in our later years, we often find the most peace in the simplest of things. 8. The desire to plan every detail. In our lives, we often place a lot of emphasis on planning, thinking that if we can just organize every single detail, everything will fall into place perfectly. However, what many of us fail to realize is that overplanning can be a heavy burden, especially as we age. The constant pressure to control every aspect of life can rob us of the precious moments that make life truly meaningful. It's something that I've come to understand more deeply with time, and I've seen others come to the same realization too. I remember a dear friend of mine who once confided in me about her struggle with the need to plan every little thing. She used to meticulously organize every holiday meal and family gathering, ensuring that everything was perfect. But over time, she found herself becoming increasingly stressed out and disconnected from the joy of being present with loved ones. 1 year later, she decided to let go of that need for perfection. Instead of planning every minute, she embraced the spontaneity of the moments. And what happened next was something truly beautiful. She found herself laughing more, connecting more deeply, and truly experiencing the joy of the season without the heavy weight of rigid expectations. When we reach our 70s, there's a certain freedom that comes with shedding the need for perfect plans. We begin to realize that life doesn't need to be perfectly organized to be fulfilling. Some of the best memories are made when we let go and allow life to unfold as it comes. Picture this: a surprise weekend visit from an old friend or a spontaneous invitation to try something new. In those moments, we're able to embrace the joy of life as it is, without stressing over what we think should happen. The truth is, when we stop trying to control every moment, we open ourselves up to a world of beautiful, unplanned experiences that fill our hearts with gratitude and wonder. And that, to me, is one of the most precious gifts of growing older. The ability to live in the moment and let go of unnecessary stress. It's a lesson I wish I had learned earlier, and one that I now treasure deeply. 9. The need to control every outcome. The need to control every outcome is something many of us struggle with, and it's easy to get caught up in the overwhelming desire to steer every situation in the direction we think it should go. I've seen it in so many people. The constant worry about a loved one's choices, the relentless attempt to predict and shape the future, and the belief that somehow we must take responsibility for how things unfold. It can be utterly exhausting, draining our energy, stealing our peace, and leaving us feeling like we're trapped in an endless cycle of anxiety. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. I remember a woman I knew once sharing how deeply liberating it was when she finally let go of trying to control the lives of her adult children. For years, she had worried incessantly about their paths, feeling as though her guidance was the only way they could succeed. But one day, she made the powerful decision to stop micromanaging their lives. Instead, she offered advice only when asked, then stepped back, allowing them to navigate their journeys. This small, yet profound shift transformed her relationships with them. It brought her a deep sense of peace. She told me that, for the first time, she felt truly connected with her children. The relationship evolved into something more beautiful, more respectful, and so much more fulfilling. She could relax and simply enjoy being with them, without the burden of trying to control their every move. This experience opened my eyes to something so vital. Letting go of control doesn't just lighten our load. It opens us up to a life filled with flexibility, joy, and a deeper sense of trust in the world around us. We can't control everything, no matter how much we wish we could, and the sooner we accept that, the more freeing it becomes. There is an incredible liberation in realizing that some things are simply beyond our reach, and rather than constantly fighting against this, we can learn to embrace it. Trusting life, and surrendering to its flow, creates room for a sense of peace that is so much more profound than any sense of control ever could be. The moment we stop forcing outcomes is the moment we start to truly live. 10. Negative self-talk about physical changes. Aging is something none of us can avoid, and with it comes inevitable physical changes. As we grow older, it can be hard not to notice the subtle yet unmistakable transformations in our appearance and abilities. Our once youthful, vibrant bodies begin to show signs of time, gray hair, wrinkles, and slower movements. It's only natural to feel a twinge of frustration when faced with these changes. But I have come to believe that this constant self-criticism of our aging bodies only drains our energy and self-esteem. We have the power to choose how we see ourselves, especially as we age. Rather than fixating on the things we no longer can do or how we no longer look like we did in our youth, why not focus on the strength and resilience we've gained? I have personally experienced the weight of these changes, and I can't help but feel that the more we dwell on them, the more we miss out on the beauty of what's right in front of us. I remember a conversation with a wise man who shared his journey through these thoughts. He admitted that he once felt frustrated by his gray hair and the way his movements had slowed down over the years. It wasn't easy for him to accept those physical signs of aging, and at first, he was consumed with negative self-talk, as many of us are. But, over time, he began to see those very things as symbols of something much greater, something deeply meaningful. He began to see each gray hair as a badge of wisdom, each wrinkle a testament to laughter, love, and the years he spent living fully. This shift in mindset, this practice of looking at aging with compassion and gratitude, is something I believe is transformative. When we stop focusing on the imperfections, and instead appreciate the strength and beauty our bodies still possess, it brings a sense of peace. It becomes a way of honoring all the years we have lived, and the journey we continue to walk. If we choose to treat ourselves with kindness, accepting and even embracing the changes, we stop letting negative thoughts rob us of joy. We develop a far more empowering relationship with ourselves, one where we cherish each day, each experience, and each new mark of age as proof that we've lived and loved well. 11. The desire to always be right in conversations. As we grow older, something profound shifts within us, a realization that comes with wisdom and experience. Being right simply doesn't matter as much as being at peace. The relentless drive to prove ourselves correct in every discussion often carries a hidden cost. It builds walls instead of bridges, creates unnecessary stress, and fosters division in relationships. How many times have we found ourselves locked in heated debates, insisting on our way of thinking, only to later realize that it wasn't the truth or even the outcome that mattered most, but the emotional toll it took on our connections? In my own life, I have seen how arguments, no matter how passionately defended, rarely leave anyone feeling better. They often leave us exhausted, misunderstood, and emotionally drained. I can't help but feel that as we age, we grow to value harmony far more than the need to be right. There's a quiet joy in letting go of the need to win every conversation and instead, embracing the beauty of understanding one another. I recall a friend who shared her transformative journey with me. She described how, in her younger years, she would constantly argue with her siblings over everything, from politics to parenting and even the simplest household decisions. Every conversation became a battleground, where the need to be right overshadowed everything else. But when she reached the age of 70, something inside her clicked. She decided that winning arguments were no longer worth the strain it put on her relationships. She made a conscious decision to stop trying to convince everyone of her point of view, and instead, she began focusing on simply understanding their perspectives. It was then that something truly beautiful happened. Her relationships with her family members grew stronger. Conversations, once filled with tension and friction, became more open, more loving, and more genuine. She found herself laughing more, sharing memories, and truly appreciating the presence of her loved ones, rather than constantly debating with them. The need to be right faded into the background, replaced by a desire for a deeper connection. What once seemed so important, proving a point or asserting control, now felt trivial in comparison to the richness of meaningful, peaceful conversations. Giving up the need to be right isn't a surrender. It's an act of wisdom and self-love. It's about choosing a softer, gentler approach to relationships. It's about cultivating an environment where understanding and empathy reign, where peace is more valuable than pride. When we let go of the pressure to be correct, we create space for connection and intimacy. And in the end, isn't that what we all want? To be seen, heard, and loved, without the strain of proving ourselves over and over again? 12. Comparing yourself to others. As we grow older, The tendency to compare ourselves to others becomes an ever-present shadow that lurks over our lives, often stealing the joy we should be embracing in the later years. The idea of comparison, as so many wise voices have said before, truly is the thief of joy. Yet, it takes on a heavier toll as we age, leaving many feeling inadequate, discouraged, or lost. After we reach a certain age, especially after 70, we often find ourselves measuring our health, wealth, accomplishments, and even our family dynamics against those around us. All too often, this comparison breeds nothing but unnecessary dissatisfaction, disappointment, and even a deep sense of longing for a life that may not be our own. I once had the privilege of speaking with an elderly gentleman who opened up about how much of his life he had spent in this very trap of comparison. He shared with me that, for years, he had felt disheartened and discouraged because he saw his friends living seemingly more active lives, enjoying better financial situations, or achieving things that he had always wished for. He felt like he was falling behind, as if life had passed him by while others soared ahead. But then, something incredible happened. After much reflection and soul-searching, he came to the powerful realization that everyone has a unique journey. Each person faces their joys, their struggles, and their own set of challenges. His friends may have had different experiences, but those were their experiences, not his. He finally allowed himself to stop looking outward for validation and started looking inward to appreciate the things that truly mattered to him. In that moment, he found a deeper, more meaningful happiness. He found peace in embracing his blessings, his path, no matter how different it was from anyone else's. The joy that comes from truly appreciating your journey, your victories, no matter how small, cannot be matched by anything external. Letting go of comparisons is not just liberating, it is transformative. It opens your heart to the beauty in the life you are living, instead of wishing for someone else's. It allows you to cherish your accomplishments, even the ones that seem small or insignificant to others because they are yours. You start to focus on what genuinely matters to you, the things that bring you peace, contentment, and fulfillment, without the weight of trying to meet anyone else's expectations or measuring up to societal standards. And isn't that what we all truly want in the end? To live freely, to embrace the richness of our own unique lives, and to feel at peace with who we are and where we are. The beauty in life lies not in comparing ourselves to others, but in fully embracing our path, with all its imperfections and triumphs. When we can let go of those comparisons, we open ourselves to the deep and lasting happiness that comes from living authentically and with gratitude. 13. Rushing through daily activities. As we rush through the hustle and bustle of our daily lives, it's so easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of responsibilities, tasks, and obligations. Our days often feel like a race against time, and we find ourselves moving from one thing to the next without truly savoring the moments in between. But then, something changes. When you reach your 70s, there's a subtle yet profound shift in your perspective. It's as if time slows down just enough for you to realize how precious each moment is, how fleeting and fragile life can be. This realization has a powerful effect. It compels you to start living more intentionally. I've noticed, and so many people around me have shared similar experiences, that as we age, we begin to slow down in ways we never thought possible. Gone are the days of hastily gulping down meals, rushing through chores, or texting while having conversations. Instead, there's a newfound appreciation for the art of being present. Every meal is an opportunity to truly taste and enjoy, not just eat. Every task becomes a mindful experience where you're fully engaged in what you're doing. Even something as simple as a conversation takes on a new meaning when you truly listen, when you aren't mentally checking off the next thing on your to-do list. A dear friend of mine recently told me how she started her practice of slow mornings, a small but powerful shift in her daily routine. She began savoring her mornings, taking time to sip her tea with deliberate slowness, listening to soothing music, and allowing herself the space to just breathe, to exist in that beautiful quiet of the early hours. It's a luxury to simply be. What I find truly beautiful about this is how this practice makes even the most mundane activities feel richer and more fulfilling. The simple act of slowing down transforms the ordinary into something extraordinary, giving you the chance to feel deeply connected to life itself. Slowing down isn't just about taking things easy. It's about reconnecting with what truly matters. It's about grounding yourself in the present moment and embracing the stillness and simplicity of everyday life. It's about finding peace in the little things and truly appreciating the beauty in them. And in doing so, you create a sense of calm, a tranquility that permeates your whole being and enhances your overall quality of life. When you slow down, you begin to realize that life isn't about racing to the next milestone. It's about finding joy in the here and now, about living with intention and grace. 14. Pressure to accumulate more material wealth. In the later years of life, particularly in your 70s, there often comes a profound shift in perspective, one that is both liberating and transformative. After decades of toiling away, striving to accumulate wealth, secure a future, and provide for yourself or loved ones, you may begin to feel a deep yearning to move away from the constant pressure to acquire more. This isn't just a change in priorities. It's a release from the relentless drive that once defined your days. The focus naturally shifts toward the richness of life itself, experiences, relationships, and those precious moments that can never be bought. I recall a conversation with a close friend of mine who once shared how, in his younger years, he was always on the lookout for the next big investment or opportunity to increase his financial standing. It was a cycle that consumed him, always chasing after more. But now, in his 70s, he has chosen a different path, one that brings him an unexpected sense of peace and fulfillment. He now directs his resources toward creating lasting memories, like taking his grandchildren on special adventures or enjoying quiet weekends away with his spouse. The joy he finds in these moments is immeasurable and priceless, far beyond anything that could be bought or invested in. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Letting go of the compulsion to accumulate more material wealth can feel like a weight lifting off your shoulders. It brings a freedom that many of us may not realize is possible until we experience it. There's an undeniable beauty in living with a sense of contentment, finding joy not in what we don't have, but in what we already possess. The laughter of a loved one, the warm embrace of a friend, the love shared over a simple meal, these are the things that truly enrich our lives. They can't be bought, and they certainly can't be measured in dollars. It's a realization that the best things in life, the things that matter most, are often free. In this stage of life, when the pressure to have more fades, you discover the deep, profound truth. The greatest wealth lies in the moments we share, the relationships we nurture, and the peace we find in simply being. 15. The habit of overthinking the future. While it's true that planning for the future can help us prepare and make better decisions, there's a fine line between being proactive and getting lost in an endless cycle of worry about what lies ahead. Overthinking what might happen, especially in later years, can drain your energy and rob you of the peace you deserve. I've spoken to many people in their 70s who have shared powerful, heartfelt stories about how freeing themselves from the habit of constantly future-tripping has brought a newfound sense of calm and peace into their lives. One woman opened up to me, and her words still resonate deeply within me. She explained how, for years, she would lie awake at night, consumed by thoughts of health outcomes that she couldn't control, financial concerns that seemed never-ending, and family matters that filled her with worry. She spent countless hours imagining worst-case scenarios that, in hindsight, never even came to pass. It was exhausting, both mentally and emotionally. Then, one day, she made a conscious decision to stop letting those what-ifs dictate her life. She began to shift her focus to the present, savoring each day as it came instead of endlessly anticipating what could or might happen. It wasn't easy at first. The temptation to worry, to mentally escape into possible futures, was strong. But as she gradually let go of the need to control everything, a profound shift took place. She described it as a feeling of liberation, a release from an invisible burden she had carried for so long. By focusing on what she could truly experience right now, in the present moment, she created space for a life that wasn't cluttered by endless hypotheticals or unrealistic fears. Instead, she was able to cultivate gratitude for the simple, beautiful moments of each day, finding peace in the quiet, the laughter, and the small joys that life had to offer. It's so easy to get caught up in the future, to overthink and overanalyze what might come next. But I believe that letting go of that constant worry, especially as we age, can give us something far more valuable: peace of mind. When we choose to focus on today, we stop living in fear of an uncertain tomorrow. Instead, we learn to truly appreciate what we have in the here and now, and in doing so, we open ourselves up to a life filled with greater joy, more authentic connection, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. The freedom that comes from releasing the need to overthink the future is something we all deserve, and it's a gift that we can give ourselves, no matter our age. I hope this video has helped you reflect on the power of living in the present moment, and how letting go of overthinking about the future can bring you peace and joy. So, what have you learned so far? Think about the ways you might start focusing more on the here and now, and how doing so can transform your life. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you've learned today that you will bring into practice in your own life. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss more inspiring content like this. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.